And then I would say also in churches, a lot of gender oppression. The messages that people promote about girls and women can be really harmful. I remember I was attending a church and the pastor had never preached any text about women, had never celebrated women. And then he announced he was doing this Bible study series and he was using that book, The Bad Girls of the Bible. And it's like chapter after chapter of like highlighting women in the Bible who did bad things. And it was like, what? Like, I'd rather you skip the series if like, so it's either silence or like the bad example of who we don't want to be. Um, so those are our issues that are harmful.
Yeah, no doubt. And it's interesting too, like how sometimes the denomination we're in or the church culture that we're in, what you just touched on, silence and silencing people who um, need to be speaking, like addressing these feelings. But sometimes, yeah, like you said, like there's this stigma of like, well, if you are addressing anxiety or mental health issues, it's a lack of faith. And then
Mm-hmm.
it's like you just said, it's complicated by gender because in some church traditions, they think that women shouldn't even be speaking from a leadership role. And that further complicates things. And
Mm-hmm.
so I feel like I feel so sad for especially women in those cultures where you're not allowed to speak
Right.
and also you're being silenced in so many different ways. Meanwhile, you're hurting, you're suffering, you want to vocalize your pain, you want someone to talk to, but that church culture you're in is not allowing you to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, some people have then equated, like, in order to celebrate myself or be at home with myself, then requires I leave the church. And what a painful, conclusion. But, based on where some people have been, it's been so toxic that it's become, instead of leaving that one particular place, believing that place represents all places. And I remember I was doing an interview or podcast with someone, and the person was someone who grew up in church, and her experience of it was very like oppressive and marginalizing. And she said, "Wow, I wish like I had gone to the kind of church you're talking about, because all these kind of warm, fuzzy things I was saying did not connect at all with her experience." And I think that's also been an important piece of my awareness when you were talking about being tuned into the range of people in the audience, is I think people who have had lovely experiences have a hard time leaving space for people who have had horrific experiences. And the other side is true too. People for whom it has been terrible can often have little belief in the possibility that for some people it hasn't been this terrible, oppressive system, that some people have experienced liberation in those spaces. So it's the reality that, it's people. And when people are involved, you're going to have a range of experiences in those places.
Hey, thank you so much for checking out this video clip from the Dogata podcast. To get more videos like this, simply subscribe here on YouTube. You can also download the full episode of each show on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, or your favorite podcast player. Take care.